Hey everybody, welcome to another year of Sundance, the 2023 edition. We are here in Park City and we're going to be bringing you the latest coverage that we can from all of the films that are going to be premiering here. So stay tuned for more from Breezeway Productions. Thanks for watching. We're here at the 2023 Sundance International Film Festival, speaking with
Marin Ireland.
Nice to meet you. Tell me a little about your role that's in the film.
Well, it could be described as a bit of a Frankenstein riff, and in that version of it, I would be the Dr. Frankenstein parallel. Yeah.
Okay, so were you digging up corpses in the graveyard type thing?
Close. I'm a pathologist who works in a morgue, a lot of morgue technician, and I reanimate. When the movie begins, I've reanimated a pig.
Oh, wow.
And then a little girl.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did you prepare for the role?
I reanimated a couple of creatures I found in Central Park, around my neighborhood. No, we had this incredible team. There's one, Emily Ryan, who's a pathologist from Stanford, who came and was with us. She helped me prepare, and she talked to me and Laura, the director, and a great deal about all of that stuff, and we worked out a lot of things, and also just me trying to kind of get inside the mind of somebody, and actually, honestly, rereading Frankenstein, because one of the most main things that we forget a lot about Frankenstein is that Mary Shelley was 18 years old when she wrote it. And it's a story in many ways about about creating life and the horror show that is.
Yeah, that's very true.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And so rereading it kind of blew my mind, actually. I'd read it in college, I think, and that really kind of helped me understand. It's a lot about kind of a neglectful father who gets frightened by what he's made and abandons his kid, and you really feel like, right, this was a young woman who had had a miscarriage. Like, it was all about like body horror in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Was that kind of trying on your emotions going through all of those things? It's kind of been a lot of trauma on your character.
Yes,
Yeah?
yes, absolutely. And it was also difficult for me because it was such that my character was so disconnected from her emotions that it was an unusual way for me as an actor to try to plug into something. I almost had to try to create disconnect for myself.
Oh, wow.
And not plug in the way I normally would, and try to figure out this has got to feel differently than it would in my body. How can I interrupt the flow, know?
Well, the flow has been achieved. I know that the audience is very much looking forward to the premiere tonight. If you were to showcase this to audiences, what would you tell them this film is about?
I would say it's about the horror of having a body, and the horror of being alive on Earth, I guess, which I feel like is something we can all relate to more and more. But yeah, I think Laura used to describe it as like The Odd Couple meets Reservoir Dogs or something like that. Something like that.
Sounds like a wild combo. And
it's funny. Listen, it's funny. It's got some laughs if we did it right?
Speaking with
Breeda Wool.
Nice to meet you, Breeda. First, I have to ask, you look fantastic. Where did you get your outfit tonight?
This is my stylist, Katie Collins, put me in some Charles and Ron, and they are tactile behavioral suit. I'm calling it my Dirty Yeti outfit.
I think it looks fantastic. It turned my head when I saw you walk in the room, so I think that you did a good job there. But now we'll get back to the film. Tell me a little bit about your role in the project.
Well, in Rebirth, I play Emily, and Emily, this film, I don't want to say too much about my character without giving it away, but this is a horror movie about motherhood that is made by women.
Oh, wow.
And when I was a mom, I'm still a mom, but when I was pregnant and giving birth, I thought this is the most insane, bizarre, somewhat horror-like experience, and I felt the lack of history of women filmmakers in the canon in order to, especially in the horror genre.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, how is there not, 50 years of women making horror movies, and there are, but not with the sort of support. And then all of a sudden, I get this offer from Laura Moss to make this movie, and I was like, I will do anything to make this movie. I want to be a part of this movie, like, absolutely, hands down.
Have you played in a lot of horror films in the past?
I have. I was at a horror film at Sundance called XX, and I was in a series for many years called Mr. Mercedes, which is a Stephen King book trilogy.
Nice.
And yeah, in XX I was the monster.
Oh, wow. So playing monsters and things like that, did you have any special training into it, or did you, like, how did you practice for that?
Well, I played a lot of sports and I danced, and then I was a street performing wolf for years, where it was like this kinesthetic awareness, like Anne Bogart viewpoints, like street performing.
That's badass.
But I did that for several years, and 6 feet tall women would run around the world dressed as wolves, hunting people in the streets. So.
Sounds pretty fun.
I have a somewhat of a history.
It's a good resume.
I guess I like stories that are emotionally transformative, but also I like it when it manifests physically too.
Yeah. And it seems like it is doing that with this film. And in closing, if you were to pitch this to audiences, what would you say they would be in for if they go to see Rebirth?
If you are a nerdy, horror-loving mother, this movie was made specifically for you, and we love you, and we know that you're a little horror weirdo, and we made this just for you.
Well, speaking with
Judy Reyes.
Nice to meet you, Judy. Tell me a little bit about your role in the project.
The film is Rebirth, and I play a nurse of a parent of a child, of a mother who loses her child, and meets up with the Frankenstein type of doctor who brings her back to life.
We just spoke with her right before you, and that we were talking about it. So tell me a little bit about how you got involved in the project.
Honestly, Laura Moss brought it to me. So I know that she was developing it with Marin for a little while and talking about it. Yeah. And then through my manager, I got the script for this really strange and powerful film. And I was like, for me? And I was very moved to meet with Laura, and she told me that she'd had me in mind for it. And the more I read it, the more addicted I became to the story. And I was just very excited to work on it. I hired my acting coach to help me really be true to the story. And I'm just so proud and excited to be here.
So working with your acting coach, what exactly did you learn or have to do in order to really empower this role?
Basically revisit the skills that we've worked on together for years, and break down the script, the story, and find out who this person is and where she goes throughout the story. And besides working out with her and trying to craft choices, I'd keep a journal. Study a little bit about nursing and hospitals and people who have accidentally killed people, things like that, or on purpose. And just kind of because it was such an extensive role, I spent a lot of work on it, and I worked on it daily. And it made the biggest difference.
If you were to encapsulate this film's concept for audiences, what would it be?
Let's see. A mother who recently loses a child comes together with a doctor who's experimenting with bringing people to life to not only bring her child back to life, but keep her alive for as long as possible.
Well, speaking with...
Hi, I'm Grant Harrison.
Nice to meet you, Grant. Tell me a little bit about your role in the film.
So I play Scott, who works in the morgue with Marin's character, Rose. And he's serves as a little bit of like just a foil for her craziness, which I'm sure you overheard me saying a little bit about. Yeah.
Tell me about how you got into character for this.
Well, I did work with a teacher of mine who I had at NYU in grad school, and she helped me find him. But in many ways, he's a little bit like me, which I think usually I'm not accustomed to doing. Usually, as an actor, you like play something like a tomato or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think for this one, it was just more about being relaxed and just staying open. Marin is such a phenomenal actress. To really have the privilege to work with her, and the writing is so good. that it doesn't require a lot of thought.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. If you were to pitch this film to audiences, what would you say would be a good log line for the film?
Fucking insanity, in a nutshell. Female-led, thriller, psychological, gnarly fun.